Recently, we've seen an incredible increase in the manatee mortality in the area. We've also seen a large increase in the number of manatees that are in distress that needed to be rescued.
In my 13 years of experience, I have not seen a manatee mortality of this magnitude.
We've had a red tide bloom that's been off the coast of southwest Florida along Lee County where we are now, and that bloom has been affecting manatees for the past several weeks. The actual red tide algae is a naturally occurring algae in the water all the time. The algae produces a toxin that affects the manatee's central nervous system. If they're affected by the toxin, they'll suffer from paralysis and seizures, which actually causes them to drown. The expectations are that the manatees will continue to suffer from this mortality event for at least a couple more weeks, maybe a couple more months, depending on the persistence of the bloom.
Normally when a manatee's healthy, it pops its head up, swims around, takes a breath, swims down, and goes about its business. When it's under distress from red tide related illness, it'll languish at the surface, gasping for air, have a hard time holding itself up, dip back under the water. Sometimes it'll get up itself into the shallow water where it isn't able to swim around anymore in an effort to be able to keep its head out of the water.
The last really large event was 2005, 2006, and it was a red tide bloom that persisted in the area for a year and a half and impacted multiple marine mammal species. So it was a very large, prolonged event, but still not the magnitude of mortality that we've seen from this one. We count the number of mortalities that we have in a calendar year from January 1st to December 31st. Last year we only had 117, and this year, just from January 1st to date, we've had 200 dead. So we've surpassed last year's total. It's tough to see that many manatees being impacted on a daily basis.
And what we're trying to do is proactively look for distressed manatees, because if we're able to find them and get to them in time and get them out of the water and into recovery, they have a pretty high chance of recovering and being able to return to the water.